guys, we're back for another Dokkan battle video. What we have got going on right here is new red zone stages added with the worldwide download celebration. It's in full swing. We got a lot of new events, again, new red zone stages, missions for previous existing red zone stages. So far, the worldwide download celebration is seeming like it is pretty goddamn good, right? So let's go ahead and take a look and see what the stats are looking like for Full Power Frieza and Final Form Cooler here in these two new red zone stages. They seem tough, but they do not seem more difficult to me than the biggest red zone bosses currently out. Broly, Omega, and Bojack, I feel like they are a little bit more difficult to beat than Frieza and Cooler. But let's go ahead and take a look at what we got right here. Okay. So first we have Frieza's details. Let's go ahead and take a look. So Frieza at the start seems pretty weak. 130,000 attack, 325,000 attack. Not really too bad. Now phase 2 right here, Frieza actually does do an AoE. This is definitely a little tricky because the strongest phase of this Frieza fight, Frieza is tech. So you do want to load up with int type characters here. LR Namek Goku, Majin Vegeta, 3rd year anniversary Vegito. These types of characters are characters that we want to take into this fight right here. You really do probably want to overload on int type characters. And you certainly can come into issues here against this second form Frieza, right? With that AoE. We know how annoying the AoE is. But here's the thing, right? While, yeah, this is definitely very, annoying, very devastating having to go up against an AoE boss. Number one, you can dodge. So, any of these dodging characters will get around that. Alright, whereas Broly completely stonewalls dodge. You cannot dodge Broly whatsoever, right? The other thing, too, is that if we directly compare this to the Broly fight, Broly is doing 840 damage to each character. So Broly is doing 500,000 more damage to each character with his AoE super attack compared to this second form Frieza, right? Second form Frieza is not matching up to this AoE Broly. What's funny is second form Frieza actually has more health than AoE Broly. That's actually kind of interesting. Oh yeah. So Frieza has more health overall, right? Because let's see. So what? 75,000, 95. Okay. And then let's see. Frieza. Yeah, Frieza actually has a lot more health with more phases too. Interesting. But a fight this long right here, it does seem to me like once you make it past second form Frieza, you're probably in the clear if you're loading up in a lot of powerful int characters or potential stacking characters, right? If you're running Tech Ultimate Gohan, or if you're running like the 7th anniversary LRs or something like that, you have so many turns potentially where you can build up to the point where you get to full power Frieza. Okay, so third form Frieza is doing 644,000 on his super attack. Looks like his defense goes up when he supers. I don't know if that's really going to factor in too much. So third form Frieza is still not even hitting as hard as Tech Broly, right? Then we get to AGL, final form Frieza, who hits for 750,000, but he can super attack twice per turn. But again, 750,000, he's hitting essentially on the level of Tech Broly. So it's like the thing about Tech Broly, you realistically could be fighting Tech Broly on turn 2, right? Whereas Frieza, you could be on turn 10 fighting AGL Frieza. Turn 10 fighting AGL Frieza with plenty of extra time to stack up. So honestly, just like looking at these numbers, and then of course knowing that Broly also has the ridiculously powerful gimmick of canceling dodge, it just does not seem to me as though Frieza really matches up to Broly's level of difficulty. And then like if we would take a look at Omega, right, definitely take a look at the fact that like look at the damage Omega is doing, right? Like 450 on his normals, even start of turn 660,000 at the beginning of the fight, and then STR Sin is already basically doing 1 million. He's just hitting way above. Now once we get to the final form of Frieza, look at the huge difference Frieza takes. he doubles basically in attacking power to 1.4 million as full power Frieza. So full power Frieza is hitting, in terms of how difficult or how hard he hits in between like the final phase of Broly and the final phase of Omega, right? Because Broly does 1.2, Omega is at here, let me just pull this up separately. Broly's at 1.2 and Omega is at 1.57, right? And then Frieza is at 1.4444444. But here's why Frieza is a little bit easier. It's because it takes longer to get there. I think a fight like this, usually the longer it goes on, the easier it sort of becomes. The difficult content in this game is going to be the burst fights, right? Where, you know, several quick turns that could be very scary. That's the thing about Omega, right? Is I have found, you know, if you're running a proper setup with LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and stuff like that, Omega really can be, like, you could just blow through that fight so fast. And you're not really able to just completely, like, blow through this Frieza fight. Like, no way. He has too many forms and too much health, right? So that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, this full power Frieza definitely looks intimidating. His normal attack stats 380,000, huh? Whereas, let's see, the final phase of Omega's at 450, and then Broly's at 400, I believe, yeah. So, I mean, you can kind of compare this tech Frieza to Broly damage-wise. He does a little bit less per normal, but he does a little bit more with his super attack, but he doesn't cancel dodge, and he's not double supering in that final phase, right? That's sort of the combo that makes Broly just so, like, you go from the AoE phase into him double supering, like, it just becomes really, really troublesome to try and deal with, right? So Frieza does look tough. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at Cooler. Now, Cooler is a fight that to me does seem much harder because, again, it's just the two phases. Cooler we could see as just far lower HP than Frieza, though. 31 million and then 50 million. So Frieza's got like another 40 million on Cooler, basically. That's interesting. Okay. So Cooler in phase 1, wow, 800,000 he does? That's so crazy because Frieza is not even eclipsing that until his final phase. So Cooler just does so much damage so fast. Cooler doesn't really have the crazy type coverage that, like, Omega has, right? Because see, Cooler is int and then he's AGL in his first phase. He does stun in his first phase as well. So I guess that's something like, you know, he could easily super attack in slot 1 and stun whichever character you have in slot 1, which definitely could be annoying, right? If you have maybe like the LR Gods right there, or some character like that that potentially could stack, you know, maybe Tech Ultimate Gohan or something like that, that could definitely be an issue. But then, I mean, you'll make it to int Cooler rather quickly, and then he's dropping 1.52. So he's essentially hitting as hard as Omega. His normals aren't hitting as hard as Omega. He's only at 400,000, whereas Omega's at 450,000. But Cooler to me is a way more intimidating fight. Just like, you know, just sort of looking at this on paper, because this is just a much more condensed, shorter fight. You have way less time to build up, you know, these powerful characters like Namek, Goku, 7th Anniversary LRs, and that Frieza fight, which just sit there and stack up forever and then destroy that Frieza fight. In here, like, you kind of just need to bring your real heavy hitters, your real strong characters, because Cooler, 8-12, none of the red zone fights are hitting like that at the start. Janemba's only at 600,000, right? We know the Bojack minions, so this is definitely a bit of a step up, right? I guess the first phase of Omega does hit 660, but not 800,000 turn 1. Right, go through a lot of these fights, right? You're not hitting 800,000 basically till Nova right here. You know, Super 17, of course, hits really hard. I guess Grade 8 Baby is, you know, past 800,000. Rildo doesn't even get that high. Neither does Lude or Legic or a lot of these bosses. So Cooler does seem rather difficult. Now, here's the thing, though. Right, we're looking at these, you know, these fights, Frieza and Cooler, like, both have got some stuff. They're tough fights. This is just stage 1 and 2 of the Wicked Bloodline Red Zone, right? Like, I don't know how many extra stages we're going to get. Are we going to get a full 7 the same way that the GT and movie side have, 7 stages. If that's the case, wow, are things about to get way tougher. I mean, sure, it makes sense because, presumably we're going to have the 2 best units in the game introduced in a little bit in the, Super Saiyan Goku and Final Form Cooler. But you can see this Cooler fight is no joke. He hits so hard, but Cooler doesn't really have any gimmicks, right? And, we've dealt with a fight of a boss that hits super hard, Cell Max, right? Except Cell Max is hitting way harder than this Cooler is. So, Cell Max is definitely a harder fight than Cooler. But, it is interesting, right? I mean, I'm sorry, guys. Look at this. People want to tell me that 300k defense is good enough when phase 1 is doing 800,000 damage, right? 300k defense, that means we're eating 500k damage from his super attack if you got 300k defense, right? Like, you need to have big defensive characters who can really take these shots, defensive characters who could dodge, who have damage reduction, who have guard, right? As they are exploding these bosses' damage numbers up like this, it just really becomes a thing where defensive characters, I feel like, are just so valuable, right? Because it's like, I don't know, look at a character like Namek Goku, right? People love Namek Goku. Dude, if he gets touched by either Cooler, you lost. If Namek Goku gets supered by these guys, that's GG. Like, you gotta have a support memory up or an item up or something. Cooler, the fight does not last long enough, and he's hitting way too hard. Whereas, like, again, you take Namek Goku into this Frieza fight, Namek Goku's got to be, like, a top 5 character for this fight. Number 1, he's doing guaranteed crits the whole fight. And then 2, you have so much time to build up. Second form Frieza's type advantage over Namek Goku, but I found it doesn't really matter too much because this is just not high enough. Like this is definitely something you have to play around for sure, but this is not a threat the same way Broly is, right? Broly with his dodge canceling and then doing 800,000 damage, whereas Frieza's only in the 300,000 range. So let me know what you guys think of the Wicked Bloodline Cooler and Frieza stats. Cooler is definitely a very difficult fight. I don't know, Cooler might even... Is he on the level of Bojack or tougher than Bojack? You might be able to say that. Is Cooler harder than Omega? I don't know. Cooler's definitely not harder than Broly. No way. I think Broly's gimmicks of canceling dodge and the AoE, it's too much, right? Like, if you could, dodging characters, people have underrated them forever, right? People underrate dodge. You put dodge on a character, oh my god. But, like, yeah, tell me how else are you living 1.5 million damage, right? Like, it's, dodge is very helpful. And the fact that you could dodge these bosses, I think, puts them on a level below Broly, right? But let me know what you guys think about Red Zone Cooler and Red Zone Full Power Frieza. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.